Hi, this is Chris Haley, and today's video is providing an overview of the 2022 bill actions by Governor Newsom, plus some historical notes of interest. The 2022 legislative session concluded in the early morning hours of September the 1st, and September 30th, per our state constitution, was the last day for Governor Gavin Newsom to act on the more than 1,000 bills that were sent to his desk during the 2022 legislative session. There were a total of 1,166 bills that reached the governor's desk during 2022. And of those, he signed 997 of them and vetoed 169, which was a 14.5% veto rate. So let's get into some gory details on those 1,166 bills. So again, he signed 997. That's 85.5% of the bills that reached his desk were signed. 62% of them were ABs and 38% of them were SBs. So of the 62% of the signed ABs, 80% of them were authored by Democrats, 11% were authored by Republicans, and 9% were either committee bills or authored by the one independent assembly member. Of the 38% of the signed bills that were SBs, 82% of them were authored by Democrats, 7% were authored by Republicans, and 11% were committee bills. Turning to the 169 vetoed bills then, again, 14.5% of the bills that reached the governor's desk were vetoed. 64% of the veto bills were ABs, while 36% of the vetoed bills were SBs. So details on the ABs. So 84% of the vetoed ABs were authored by Democrats, while 15% of the ABs that were vetoed were authored by Republicans, and 1% were either committee bills or by the independent legislator. Of the 36% of the vetoed bills that were SBs, 92% of those were authored by Democrats, while 8% were authored by Republicans. Looking back at some of the governor's prior actions, in the 2021 session, he signed 770 bills. 66% were ABs and 34% were SBs. The governor actually ended up signing 92% of the bills that reached his desk in the 2021 session, quite a high number. So he vetoed 7.9% of the bills that reached his desk in 2021. Now, in the governor's second year in office, which was the 2020 legislative session, 9 weeks were lost due to COVID pandemic. And so the total number of bills were reduced by 76%, and just about 425 of those bills reached his desk, and he vetoed 13% of them. So a very small number, obviously. In his first year in office, he signed 1,016 bills, which was 83.5% of the bills that were sent to him. He vetoed 201 bills, which was a veto rate of 16.5%. 65% of the signed bills were ABs, and 79% of those ABs were authored by Democrats. 77% of the SBs that got to the governor's desk that were signed were authored by Democrats. And of the vetoed bills, 74% were ABs, and 84% of the ABs that were vetoed were authored by Democrats, while 94% of the SBs that were vetoed were authored by Democratic senators. Looking back historically on how many bills get to the governor's desk and their veto rates, Governor Brown's second 8 years in office, between 870 and 1,200 bills reached his desk, and he vetoed between 10 and 15% of them. During Governor Schwarzenegger's 7 years in office, between 890 and 1,265 bills got to him annually, and he vetoed anywhere from 22 to 35% of the bills that reached his desk. And during Governor Davis's 5 years in office, between 965 bills and 1,455 bills got to him annually, and he vetoed between 6% and 25% of them. So again, that's a summary of the 2022 bill actions by Governor Gavin Newsom, and to put those in a little bit of a historical perspective for you.